Leaver/cheater STBX wife here. We separated and began living apart last December. I still have yet to file because I feel so guilty, and I know he will likely not file. Even though I hurt him, I think he'd rather hold on to part of us than let go completely. I also don't know his new address and am so afraid of asking for it and sending him papers, and am afraid of hurting him further. In October last year, we were hiking in West Virginia after attending a friend's wedding. As we were hiking up to the summit there, I was feeling exuberant and alive, and I looked behind me at him, and he was utterly miserable and exhausted. It felt like some metaphor for our 8-year relationship that had slowly disintegrated into being two different, incompatible people. It was so strange, because in that moment, just like that, I realized I was done and had fallen out of love with him. That I had probably been coming to that place for a long time, but had tried to cover it up through work and AA and staying busy. I remember asking him during our last vacation what made him happy, and he said, "You do," which was so amazingly sweet, and I said so, but I also said, "What else makes you happy? Do you know?" He said he didn't, and he didn't want to think about it. He had given up his identity in pursuit of making me happy, and I was left with a husband who didn't know what he liked, what he wanted to do, without motivation or energy or ideas. It was heartbreaking, and I wanted so badly to fix it. This was a man I had wanted children with, who had 2 children from a previous marriage. I now realize when he said, "I don't not want to have children," is not the same as saying, "I want to have children with you." I was devastated, as I had spent all my 30s with him, thought he would be with me forever, and I felt so silly and old and past my prime. A year before my separation, I developed a crush on someone in AA. I knew inherently the grass is not greener, so I avoided him and didn't flirt or put myself in situations with him. I wanted my marriage to work and tried to stay inspired in my marriage and inspire my husband, even though he was so tired and depressed and unmotivated. But after that moment of clarity last October, I realized I was done, but stupidly had an affair with this man instead of separating from my marriage first. It was my passive-aggressive way of hammering the final nail into my broken marriage. And of course, my STBXH found out. We tried counseling. I stayed away from the other man. But I had fallen out of love with him, and I couldn't get back there, no matter how much I wanted to will it differently. We've been living apart for 10 months now. I respect him by not selfishly reaching out to him to check in on him, even though I think about him every day. I love him so very much. I worry for his emotional well-being, even though I know it is no longer my place to do so. I'm in a relationship with the man I cheated with, and I care about him so very much. It's so strange to have this space in my heart where I have love for 2 very different men. To cry at the drop of a hat, to see someone wearing a shirt that reminds me of my ex and remember a moment in time we shared. My brain keeps having these physiological memories like, this time last year we were in Miami trying to save our marriage. We both have our shit. We both hurt each other and did bad things in the marriage. It's not about scorekeeping, but damn, I wish I knew how to let go of my guilt. I want to respect his need to move on, and yet I am so scared to file because I don't want to hurt him anymore. And I just want to know when this enormous grief will subside. God, I really am so grateful I met him. I'm so enormously lucky to have been loved so much by him, and I wish it had been enough for me to stay. I cry every day, and I feel guilty for feeling happy with another man. I'm going to be blunt because everything you wrote is drenched in self-romanticizing language that lets you avoid the core truth. You didn't realize you were done on a hike. You checked out emotionally, then chose the most destructive exit possible because you didn't want to be the one to pull the plug cleanly. Calling the affair passive-aggressive doesn't make it less cruel. It just means you knew exactly what you were doing and did it anyway. You keep saying you don't want to hurt him more, but that's not what's happening. You're keeping him in limbo because filing would force you to fully accept that you are the one who ended the marriage. Dragging this out doesn't protect him. It protects you from facing that you're the bad guy in his story. And you are the bad guy in this chapter, whether you like it or not. The guilt hasn't lifted because you're still trying to have it both ways, moving on with the affair partner while trying to be this gentle ex who respects his space. If you truly care about him, stop centering your feelings, file the paperwork, and let him grieve something that is actually over instead of keeping him tethered to a ghost. Edit. He did spend a lot of energy trying to make me happy, but I also wanted to know what made him happy, and he never had anything to offer. It became very codependent in that way, where he stopped growing and working on himself, instead losing his identity. It was unhealthy, and he started smoking weed and relapsed and hid it from me. I did counseling for years with him and tried my best for years prior to cheating and made a home for my stepsons. Comments. Do him a favor and forget about him. You are the one who cheated in a passive-aggressive way to get him to dump you by your own admission. If you really care about his well-being, leave him alone and let him find the person he should be with. There is no way you can manage this in a way that will keep him from getting hurt more. I am sure he is devastated, and those papers will send him reeling. You've had him on a roller coaster for months. Just get it over with and then leave him alone. He has a long road of healing ahead, and you play no part in that. Story 2. My husband discovered my affair after I left my phone unattended. I don't even know what tipped him off. I hadn't been careful because somewhere along the way, I convinced myself I was managing it. The affair was with someone I met through work. He doesn't work where I work, but he's associated to the office. What hurts to admit, and what I can't minimize, is that I was the one escalating things the entire time. I was the first to steer conversations into sexual territory. I was the first to send explicit photos. I was the one who suggested meeting up, then escalated it to sex. None of this was passive. None of this was something that just happened. When my husband confronted me, I panicked. I confessed to part of it, the emotional part, but he wasn't fully convinced. But he had no way of proving otherwise because I had adopted the habit of clearing my chats with AP. So there wasn't much left there. Later that same day, my husband messaged the affair partner to see if our stories matched. My AP came clean and admitted to him that we had been intimate a dozen times and apologized to him. At the time, I said he was lying or confused. The truth is more complicated and uglier. They were full days we spent together under the guise of overtime. And yes, we had sex multiple times on those days. I didn't clarify that initially because I told myself the details would only hurt my husband more. We've been together 16 years, married for 13. We have 3 kids under 10. My husband keeps saying the only future he can imagine that doesn't feel unbearable is one where we live under separate roofs, but I'm upset about it. Also, I'm terrified because of what a red flag that statement is. I don't know what to do at this point. I want to keep my marriage, but I don't know how to help him feel safe with me. I caused this spiral. I don't know yet if I'm capable of doing what true repair actually requires, and that realization is terrifying.